Hello, 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 welcome back. It's time to write another adventure, make another adventure, create something that we haven't created before, and I want you to come along for that journey. And we're going to do a fortress. Normally, I roll around and we do some sort of castle or fortress every 2 months. And so today it's all about trying to do something like that. And we're going to work reasonably fast on the whole process. But yeah, I am going to put up a poll. Feel free to take part in that poll if you want to. And I would suggest grabbing food, drink, get comfortable, and we'll share some ideas. I will have a whole lot of information to help build this as well. So I'll be working hard too, don't you worry. So get that food and drink ready, get comfortable, and for the next couple of hours, we're going to make an adventure. Yes, we are. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Weller, and today I want to talk about writing, making, creating adventures for tabletop role-playing games, Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons, doesn't matter. And we're going to look at a flying fortress or a flying castle or a flying location, something that is on the move, something that's much harder to get to than normal. Should be interesting, should be a real challenge, frankly. So, now that we've got that out of the way, hello, how are you? We need to deal with the crux of what we're trying to deal with here. So the first thing I normally like to do is I've brought a map along. I'm not going to redraw the map. We're going to use the map as is, and we'll build to the map, okay? The map itself is constructed very, very quickly. It is not something I've hand-drawn or used software to draw by hand or increments. It is basically just a tile system, and you just move the tiles where you need them to be, because as I've said before, this is all about you creating your own adventures. So I need to give you a method for doing it fast, and this is a fast system rather than drawing it by hand or using software where you're having to draw every little line. So instead, we just use a sort of like a generator in many respects, but you've actually got some control over it. The first thing we do with any kind of adventure is we need to determine whose location is it, and that's our first question for today. I'm going to put that forward. So hashtag whose flying fortress is this? Okay, this is what we want to deal with first, is whose flying fortress is this? And what is it used for? There's the question. And hopefully I can actually spell this all correctly. Yes, there we go. Plunk that in. And then once we've answered that question, and we don't have to answer that question straight away, it's all right. What we do is we fill out the locations, we give some information about what would be there, and we build from there. And it will start to come together, believe it or not. So hashtag, when you put it forward a suggestion, I would suggest going, pick out the locational number on the map, and I have a Google document which I'll be typing into, and I will share that with you. So give me the area number when you select a place you would like to position something. Description of what is there. I have a bunch of descriptions I can use if you can't think of anything. We want to deal with things like furniture. What furniture there? Objects you might be able to find there. Okay. Sound, noise, odor, what you can smell. If those are important, they may not be important. We're dealing with monsters. What monsters are here? And then what NPCs? Who might we be talking to? Hazards, if that makes much sense at all. Traps, if traps are a thing. Puzzles, if that would be suitable. And then we've got things like treasure. Treasure, things that the players can take, pick up, use in some way. That pretty much covers the gambit of the various things that we'll need for an adventure. Now you'll notice this is a location-based adventure. It is not an event-based adventure. The reason why I do not build event-based adventures in a live stream is it is impossible. Because the feedback I would get from people would be too varied. What you do is you overlay whatever you're doing with your adventure campaign world, or whatever adventure is connected to your player characters, you overlay that onto the location. That is much easier to do rather than to write an adventure in a live stream that is event based. So this is why I always do location based. It is what has always been done in the past, not because they don't have any sort of ingenuity, but this is the most sensible way to write an adventure without it being too fragile. And the idea is not to create a fragile adventure. The idea is to create an adventure that you can use potentially in your game. Okay, and I put these up onto Patreon if we get them finished, which sometimes I don't. It's true, but no, we'll get this done. So there are 20 locations. Normally I prefer to have a lot less locations than that because it can be a bit hard to get through everything. So I'm going to work very hard today. I'll be waiting for your feedback and your ideas. I will take them on board. I'll incorporate them when I can. And then the other thing to consider is I'm going to have to probably write up 2 locations every time I go back to chat, because I won't be looking at chat as I'm writing. Okay. Now I have pre-written a lot of stuff, yeah, that's a given. So the first thing I want to do is I want to direct you in the right direction for, if you want to make your own maps, I suggest Dave's Mapper. One, because it's quick and simple, it's easy to use, and it basically gives you a basic gist. You don't have to draw the thing yourself. You don't have to do anything like that. So I want to encourage you to use this tool for making your location-based adventures. So you don't have to draw them by hand, because I know that takes time. If you just want to grab an adventure and get going, and you want something fairly simple, there are rather a lot that go up onto my Patreon, and I'll give you a link to that as well. Some are free and some are not, okay? So you just have to look through there. So there we go. Those are the things that I'll put forward. Right, now let's get into the crux of writing something up. Here we go. Here is my document. I have already started. We haven't got adventure hooks yet. I'm not going to worry about wandering monsters at this present time, which is what's in yellow. Main features, not going to worry about that. And we have essentially 20 locations to fill out in a very short space of time. And I'm going to do that. It's going to happen. So the first thing is, let's deal with an entrance. Now, I had considered putting in some sort of docking area. And I suppose that's still a possibility, even though the map doesn't sort of show you the docking area. But you'll let me know if that seems like a good idea. We have a double door entrance made of shiny metal with arrow slits on either side. Now, that would probably fit our location pretty well because of the way that it's structured. Okay, there are murder holes, the boxes with the squares on the front near the number 1 basically sort of suggest murder holes, and then you've got guard posts either side with arrow slits. That sort of once you get past the first set of gates, but there's two sets of gates in this thing, so it's quite a lot more difficult to get in than just one set of gates. So what we'll do is I'll design the first front of it, and you'll tell me if you want to change it in some way, and I will add that in. Okay, so first things, main gate. Let's get this done, and I'll need to adjust it just a little bit. So cut, and as I said, I'm going to do about 2 before I go back to chat. Oh, not suggestions, edit, and there. Okay, so 2. So main entrance, and underline a set of double doors made of shiny metal, and I'm going to get rid of the concept of arrow slits. I'm going to put a full stop there, and instead shiny metal with iron bars, locking bars. What's the word that I want to use here? Iron bars, crossing crisscrossing the doors. So we're setting up that it's really, really secure. And now we need to have, once you get past the outer doors, okay? So a description of that. So one sentence does that. Next sentence. The second, okay, inside the main gate are another set of double doors made of black iron with so we had crisscrossing before with bands of steel, metal, stretching, stretching across them from left to right. Okay, so that is my stretching. Okay, and I believe we have arrow slits also. Once you get inside there are arrow slits. There are arrow slits on either side of the interior gate, and hatches above. I think we have communicated quite a lot of information there. That gives us our main gate area. We need a GM note. GM notes. The hatches above are, what do we want to do here? Are used as murder holes to pour, to drop, drop rocks. I think the other thing we need to probably also indicate is each set of double doors has locking bars on the inside. Okay, so there's our GM note, and we've got a little bit of information. We've got a description. Do that. I always like to include treasure, things that they can find. I don't know what that'll be right now. It's not that important. We can come back to that some other time. But that is our entrance, and then we want to have a rear entrance as well. So I definitely want to write that one, but I'm not going to do that just yet. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to a different location, and we'll deal with a different place, something that kind of fits, something that would work, something that's sort of suitable, and something that would be interesting. So we've got all sorts of things from statue halls, which are pretty standard stuff in these sorts of locations, a sky garden, so an open garden. We've got a courtyard, sort of a sunstone courtyard or something bathed with sunlight. We've got a lab, we've got mirror chambers, was pretty standard stuff. Aviary, observatory, a forge of some kind. a dungeon pit, a library, an armory, a lightning tower. Might be an interesting idea. A portal chamber. We've got a sky serpent tower as well. We've got a crystal chamber. We've got clockwork workshop, moonlit balconies, hall of mists, and chimera's keep. I'm not sure if that's going to be really appropriate, but fountain of youth, the colossal room, a throne room, which makes a lot of sense. If you're going to have a fortress, you probably should have a throne room. And we have a vault of storms. So we're going to take the throne room and I'm going to get that started. So we're going to go here, I'm going to cut. Throne room probably should be the central chamber. It's the Great Hall. So I don't even know if I want to call it the throne room. If anything, it would probably be better to be called something else completely different. We could even make 11 rather than 10 on the map this. So there's a lot of options here. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this as the Grand Hall and not so much a throne room as such. So number 10. So we'll place that into number 10 and that gets me 2 down, sort of, roughly, and we'll call this the Great Hall. Great Hall. A grand. Now, is it? We can give it a shape. It's got a balcony. A grand hall with an empty floating throne, floating statue. Let's put a statue in here. Floating statue. With a. Let's make it tall. Let's make it really got a high ceiling. So let's with a say 20 foot high balcony overlooking the room, and then we want to give an indication of the size of the room and what else is in here, but I want to leave that open to a lot of you who will want to probably flesh it out. So I'm just doing the basic structure. So let's go with something like the ceiling is vaulted to a height of 40 feet. Okay, so we've got our description. We don't have much else there. That's fine. We'll put here down treasure because I know you guys will want to put something in here. That's all right, whether that's NPCs, traps, monsters, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I've done 2 and probably not fast enough, but as fast as I could. Okay, so I've done 2. Let's have a look and see what you guys have got to say. Just come up with ideas, throw them out there. I usually just collect them all up and try to incorporate as many things as I can, either during the live stream or later. So we've still got, I'm going to probably do this 10 times. So we're going to do this a few times before we're going to get all the locations sorted out. Anyway, okay, so it's pretty quiet today. That's all right. As I said before, you can come up with any sort of idea you like. Pick a location where you think it might fit, and we'll go with that. Okay. All right. Let's do another couple. My general feeling is there's a couple of locations here that stand out as being sort of different, that need to have something that makes 19 and 12 look to me like some sort of cage location, or maybe a prison cell, and those probably are the sorts of things I want to put there. So they're probably cells of some kind. Might not be, but they feel like they are. And then 15 feels like a major location. 14 feels like a major location. So does 7. Area 4 feels like sort of like a courtyard. 5 and 6 may be some sort of barracks location or guardhouse. 3 is obviously some sort of a guard post, or it's essentially an archer's an archer's post of some kind. So they're going to have somebody who can shoot through those arrow slits, right? 11 is a major location. So looks like it might be magical. Number 2 is our rear entrance, and number 20 it looks like a major room. I'm not sure what that's going to be. So there's a few different locations we needed to deal with here. Okay, so let's start building on that. Hello, James. How are you? Okay, so throw some ideas at me. I've asked a couple of questions. I'm going to fill in a few more locations so that people can sort of get a feel for what I'm trying to do here. And yeah, anything sort of takes your fancy, build upon it by all means. All right, let's do this again. Transition over. Here is our document. So let's put in 2 more locations. Something that would stand out, something that would be interesting. I like the idea of a garden. I like the idea of the courtyard. Let's take the courtyard because we were talking about doing a courtyard. Oh, don't do this suggestion thing. Okay, let's do the sunstone courtyard. So let's go here. And I believe, is it area 4 that has sort of like a courtyard feel to it? Yes, it does. It feels like it's definitely a transition location. So let's go courtyard. Let's paste this and move that out of the way. Have I got this right? Yes, I do. Sunstone courtyard, and bold, underline. A courtyard. Now let's give it let's give it a yellow brick courtyard, bathed in bright sunlight, with an enormous glowing orb suspended above. Oh, that's suggests something strange. What that does, I don't know. I'll let you guys figure that out. We need a GM note for that. We'll come back to that. I'm setting you up, people, if you haven't figured it out. I am trying to include something that is out of the norm. We need to have some sort of treasure. It does not need to be coins or magic items. Treasure could be, it could be just a pile of, it could be a bone necklace, it could be, you know, a sword, it could be a dagger, it could be somebody's doll, toy doll. I mean, it could be anything you like. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, so we've done that one. Let's deal with another location. I've got 2 at a time, right? And what stands out as being like an interesting thing we could include? Something odd, something weird, something different. My general feeling is I almost feel like I want to put a dovecot in here. Now, for those of you who don't know what a dovecot is, it's basically just an aviary, okay, for doves, pigeons, things like that. So let's put in an aviary. So I'm going to go cut here from the aviary. And my general feeling is there's 2 cages. 12 and 19 look like they are sort of cages or cells or something. So let's make 12 that. Let's put into the 12 location. Oops. Am I doing it right? No, we've got 21. We shouldn't have 21. That's too many. So we want 12. 12. Paste. Aviary. Okay, so... and bold, underline, a large open room with birds resting, flying and singing. Resting, where birds rest, fly and sing. So that's a very simple sort of structure. Treasure. And let's go here, bold for this. Let's put on our formatting as we go. Is there anything else we need to sort of say about an aviary? I don't know. You tell me. I am just giving you the basics. So we've done 1, 2. Oh, I didn't put an underline under this one, so I'll do that now. Underline. Underline, underline. So I've done 2. Okay, there we go. So we've got 2. We're on our way. We're getting closer and closer, which is good, right? And we'll just keep going this way. And what have you got here, people? Oh, it's still pretty quiet. I was expecting to see a little bit more feedback. Honestly, those of you who are watching, it's all right just to suggest ideas. If you're stuck, you're stuck. That's fine. It might be as simple as who's Whose fortress would this be? Okay. All right, let's pick out some locations in here that we could build on, things that would be interesting. I almost feel like we need to have some sort of prison or cell, and 19 looks like it would make a good place to put that. We had a hall of statues, and for me, I think 9, those dots there in 9, sort of suggest that they are statues along the south wall, and is it the west wall? West wall, I think it is. Avery, NPC bird keeper with some information, both useful and useless. Okay, so that's fine. Let's take this information that you've given me here. Let us plug this in. How about giving me a name for that NPC, James? Do you think you can come up with a name, or will I be doing that? So we will include the NPC. Whoops, it's an NPO right now. How do we get an NPO? All right, let's go here. Avery, NPC. NPCs are always important because they relay information. They give our players an opportunity to do something different. And we want that. Okay, so good. Awesome. So we've got a contribution. And would you believe it? I've added it in. Just like that, people. It's not that hard. You can do this. It's easy. It's not hard. Easy. Anyway, let's go over here. Let's do some new locations. Going through my list of locations. We want something that stands out. We were talking about the hall statue. I feel like the statue hall. Let's do this. It's not long. Whoops. What did I do? Did I just delete it? Probably. Cut. So let's put this in. I believe it was number 9 on the map. Yes, it is. Number 9. Let's put it into 9. And it's really more of a chamber rather than a hallway. So, statue chamber. To make it fit. No, this is not a long hallway. This is, what sort of shape are we dealing with here? It's really sort of it's more like a triangular shape, isn't it? Triangular. Triangular room. Let's do triangular room filled with grey statues of warriors dressed in plate armor holding different weapons. Very, very simple. Nothing too difficult about that. We can always add more to them. And we don't need to say anything other than that. Now, do we want to put a monster here? I know the temptation is to put animated armor. Maybe that's not a good idea, but let's say treasure. What treasure could be here? What could they find that might be useful? A dead mouse? I don't know. You tell me. So that's that one. Whoops, it shouldn't be underlined. It should be just bolded. Sorry about that, people. Drink some more tea, and then going down, I said I would do 2 at a time, and I will. Let's find something else that would sort of fit our location and be interesting. The observatory is one that is tempting. The Sky Garden too is a really tempting idea. And do you know, I almost feel like the Sky Garden has some potential places it could go. 14, I feel like, is a big enough location. 11 feels like a really good location for it. But a Sky Garden also too sort of suggests that it's possibly like a lobby or a courtyard. So it might be an interim room rather than being used for a major feature. And Area 20 would probably work really well for that, because there's not much we can do with it other than it being another courtyard. And rather than having another courtyard, let's have something else. Let's put a garden here with hanging plants. I think that would be quite interesting. So number 20, let's take our Sky Garden and cut. Go to 20 and paste. Sky Garden and bold, underline. An open air garden filled with strange floating plants and hovering rocks. So we've set something up here. Okay. An open, now, open air garden means nothing. Open top. So let's open up the top. So there's not a roof to it. Open roof. Open roof garden filled with strange floating plants and hovering rocks. Perfect. That's what we want. Treasure. Stuff we might find here. And do we want an NPC? Do we want a monster? Do we want something else? Like you tell me. Okay, so I've done 2. And we are chopping our way through this. So you might be thinking, oh, you did all the work in advance though, Fred, didn't you? And I'm like, well, you kind of have to do during a live stream. There's a little bit of preemptive stuff going on. How magical is the fortress? You tell me. It's a flying fortress. You can make it as magical as you would like. Could the statues or none of the statues be enchanted guardians, maybe activated by looting their adjacent room? Yes, because there is an adjacent room to that place that we put the statues. So that could certainly be a factor. Is that what you want? You tell me. Give me an idea. I can put in animated statues that activate if somebody tries to go into 8 or take something from room 8. So now you have to decide what is in room 8. Is that an armory? Or is 5 an armory? Or is 6 an armory? I mean, there you go. There's a problem and something to solve. So, yeah. It's a floating fortress, so it's probably pretty magical. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. I'll just mark myself here so I know I've read up to that point. And let's go back to our document, and I will include a couple more ideas. Fill out a few more locations. More tea. Half an hour in. Okay, so let's start with, I almost feel like you are working us towards an armory. So the armory would probably need to be fairly close to the main door. So let's do the armory, eh? And the armory, I think you've kind of established, James, that 8's probably the armory. It's probably there. So let's put the armory there, in 8. So it's close to this. And paste, armory. And I'll go bold, underline, a rusted, dusty, a rusted? Why is it a rusted? Why is it dirty? Rusted, a dirty, dusty, dirty, dusty room with countless weapons and armor. Weapons and armor. Hanging from wall racks. Pretty simple. Nothing too difficult about that. Treasure. Well, I think we can establish there's going to be some sort of treasure that is probably weapon related. Weapons and armor. Okay. Question mark. What that will be, we'll come back to. Alright, so we've established that bit. And then you had something about a monster. What, animated statue or animated armor? Could be either one, right? Animated statue. Attacks anyone taking weapons or armor from the armory. It's pretty simple. And how many are there? I think based off our map, we did say it's going to be 6. Okay, 6. Animate statues. Attack. Anyone taking one? Yep, okay, that's cool. We've got that. There you go, included. Just like that. Easy peasies. Whoops, 6 is not quite right. Alright, so now that we've done that one, let's deal with the next location. I said I was going to do 2 at a time, so let's find another one that sort of stands out as being interesting and we can do something with. The portal chamber seems like a fun one. The sky, there's a bunch of these things here. We have a Colossus room. I don't know. This has basically got a giant dormant metal golem in it of some kind. And I almost feel like 10 could be like that, but so could 15. So we'll make the Colossus room 15, shall we? It's got some sort of statue. I'll rewrite it so it's not quite so leading. It's a bit leading, that statement. So we probably want to take the lead out and instead make it a GM note. So let's go here. Paste. Colossus room. Bold, underline. A massive room that is 60 feet high, containing a giant metal figure. And so what we really want to do, that pretty much explains most of what we need for that location. Our monster. I feel like it's an iron golem. And iron golem. We don't have sort of what it will do, how it works. That hasn't really been established. But we can go treasure and write that in later, and then bold, like so. And I see that, have I done two? I have done two. I'll do one more, since one of them was, both of those were pretty easy. Hall of Mists is an interesting one. Fountain of Youth. Moonlight Balcony. I don't know. You guys throw some ideas out there and tell me what you'd like to do with this location. I feel like there's a lot to be said for Area 11. It feels like with that kind of eye and that image that's on the floor suggests maybe it's magical. It's a triangular shaped room in most respects. So let's work on that one. I feel like we can do something with that. Magical in nature. It almost feels like it would make a good portal room. It's a huge location though. So how important would that be? An observatory with a giant telescope, tiny eye points. We could do sort of an observatory location here. Or a brass telescope. It could be a forge. Could be anything actually, now we think about it. There's lots of different things it could be. What things that sort of stand out to us? What do we want? The Vault of Storms. The final treasure-filled room. Okay, well, that doesn't really tell us very much. But okay. Let's go with the observatory. I feel like that would be more interesting. I like the idea of going with that. So let's go cut. And we'll put it into, I think it's 11, isn't it? Area 11 is the big triangular room. Paste. Let's make it the magical observatory. Something nice and simple. Bold and underline. A large triangular room with a huge, let's just make huge, a huge triangular room with a large rusty brass telescope. Pointing upward in the center. Okay, so the ceiling shows tiny points of light. Okay, so we've got our description. Whoops. And then what else happens here? Who knows? But we're going to put here treasure. For those of you who are wondering, why do I always write there as a treasure section? Even though there might not always be a monster. Because it's always good to have something for the players to find. Because they always want to search around. You want them to search and find stuff. Adventures are about exploration. Whether you're exploring what's inside the mind of an NPC or exploring the environment itself, this is why I always have treasure. Okay, let's go back to the map. Let's see what people have had to say. Aha, here we go. Sky Garden, maybe some rare plants for potions or poisons for the crafting PCs. So, this is a GM note. We're going to add this in the Sky Garden, James. So let's go back to our Sky Garden area, which was, I believe, area 20, correct? So we want a GM note. They're not going to know that that's the case. Like, they're going to have to figure that out themselves. So we'll put in a note relating to that now. Paste. The rare plants in the garden can be used for potions or poisons. And we won't go any further than that. That's probably good enough as a note. That was easy. Piece of cake. Nothing to it. Simple. Right. So I've got that. We'll mark that down. Going to prompt people again. Pick an area, come up with an idea, throw it in there, and I'll try to incorporate it as best I can. Okay? Let's go. Right. There we go. Cool. And so I'll get back to doing 2 more, I guess. 2 more of these. Flesh out a few more locations. How are we doing for time? We're doing pretty good for time. Okay. So now that we're back here, we need to pick a couple of locations, do something with them. The hat is coming off. My brain is getting hot. Got to think. A little bit of wild hair. Yes, I know I need a haircut. So let's pick some locations and do something with them. Area 7 is a very strange room because it's got a great huge column or a great huge block in the center. So it in itself, it's telling some sort of story. I don't know what that story is, but it's telling some sort of story. 19 feels very much like it is a cage of some kind. So I almost feel like we make this a prison. We've got a dungeon pit, so let's make it that's what it is. It's a dungeon pit of some kind. And I've had to write a lot of prison locations. So let's do something a little bit different with it. A pit and cages suspended over a deep gaping hole is an interesting concept, right? We've seen it in movies more than a few times, but I don't think I've used it in an adventure as such. Not this way. Okay, dungeon pit. It's not pits, it's pit. And we go here. Bold underline. Cages suspended over a deep gaping pit. That appears to have no bottom. What we can do with this is we can just have them dropped in here. I mean, if you put them in the cages that are suspended, that's one thing. But you could also just drop them down the pit and then they just fall out of the flying fortress and then plummet to the ground and die. So, yeah. GM note. The pit leads to the bottom, to a chute that drops out of the flying fortress. Okay. Fortress. Okay. Got that. Got treasure. We need to give it a bit more of a description because I don't think I've put quite enough there. We need to highlight our GM notes, so we'll do that. So we can find its treasure, whatever that will be. Don't need to worry about it now. That drops. Okay. Let's give it a bit more of a description. So we've kind of described what's inside, but we haven't described the appearance. Okay, so we can probably work on its shape. It's an odd shape. What sort of shape is it? A roughly triangular again. Triangular. A roughly triangular, roughly prison cell with bars. So we've got iron bars is locked. It is secured with a padlock. Okay. Now we haven't put anybody in the cages, and we could do that if we wanted to, but we could have them empty too. It's up to you. And we haven't even stated how many cages there are. So we have cages within a cage. A roughly triangular prison cell with iron bars that is secured with a padlock. Okay, there we go. I haven't said anything about the padlock other than that. Let's make the padlock is hard to open with force or tools. We haven't stipulated where the key would be, but we'll deal with that later. Okay, so we've done that. I need to do another one because I said I would do at least 2 at a time, and I will. So let's have a look at another location and build out something else. Haven't done now. Area 3 and area 2 are pretty boring, so we don't have to worry about them. We can do something with area 4, 14 might be, or even 16. They are octagon shaped rooms, so that presents a completely different sort of feel to it. They are also rooms that are, what's the word, they lead to other passageways, so they're not off to the side, so they feel like they are linking rooms of some kind. So how can we make that work? We could actually, 7 could be a forge. That block in the center there could be like a big stone square forge that is set on one side. But it could also be the lightning tower that we were talking about, because we had a lightning tower as a suggestion. So which one do we want to use? I almost feel like we could use a bunch of these. Let's go with the 7 as the lightning tower. Lightning tower, here we go. Because the buildings on the corners will probably be towers of some kind, right? So let's go cut. And area 7 here. Paste. So we need to build out a little bit more. We need to take that out of there because that armory is actually area 8. A lightning tower. Bolt underline. Okay, let's make it really, really high. Let's give it some real height to it. Let's go, because we've got some really high locations already. Let's do something that's much higher than that. Let's go a 100-foot tall tower, crackling with raw electricity. Okay. A large stone, large Let's put something weird in here. A large purple. I was going to say black, but purple. Stone. A large square. Purple. So I'm trying to push in enough adjectives to describe it so that you don't have to work too hard. A large square purple stone in the center sparks with energy. What is going on here? Who knows? GM note, is this a hazard? Is this potentially a trap? Is it just got a particular nature? I think there needs to be something said about it, but we won't worry about that just yet. Like I said, I'm just dealing with locations. And let's go here. Bold this. Treasure, don't know what the treasure would be here. Come back to that. So I think I've got that done. Yeah, okay, so that's two done. Let's go back to chat and see what you have to say. I might put a lozenge in my mouth because I'm starting to get a bit dry. Here we go. Starting to get some interesting... Oh, here we go. We've got something. Somebody's picked a location and decided they're going to plant something somewhere. Awesome. Love it. Tea is gone. Need to go to water. Okay, so you said 15. Now, I put something in 15 already. What do you want to do with 15? Let's have a look and see what you've got with 15. Whether a ritual or a portal room could be some sort of activation process for the PCs to thought. Okay, so let's put your portal idea somewhere else. 15 has already got something there. Let's put it into 16. 16 could be a portal chamber. Why not? It's close enough. Even room 14 could be a portal chamber. So let's make actually 14 a portal chamber. Do we want to make that? No. 16, 14. No, 16 is probably fine. Let's plant that there. I'm fine with that. Let's do that. Pardon me. And let's go over here. So we're going to plant, you said 15 and I said 16, didn't I? So let's find a description for 16. I'm sure I had some sort of portal. I usually try to find the most... Yeah, here we go. So this is... Whoops. Did I just lose it or not? Cut. Portal. 16. Paste. Portal chamber. There we go. And let's just rip this across here, bold underline. A room filled with purple swirling mystical portals. Now, we probably need to describe the room a little bit more than we have. 16 is a hexagon. Okay? Is it an hexagon or no, it's an octagon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's an octagon. Okay. So an octagon token shaped room filled with purple swirling mystical portals. So we don't just have one portal, we have many portals going on here. We'll need a GM note for this in some way. Did you provide us with enough information we can build something from that? Treasure. Whatever that might be. And bold underline. No, not bold underline, it's just bold. Treasure, don't know what that'll be for now. Okay. All right. I think you had said something about activation. The life of me, I can't remember. So I have to come back to that. I'll have a look at in the chat in a second. All right, let's do it. Since I'm here, since I've done one, let's do another location. Let's build out a location, find a location, put something there. We've done a few of these now. I feel like we can probably start filling in 16, 17, 18 potentially. So what can we use as an interim room? I feel like 16 is a fairly large room. It feels like it could be an interim room of some kind. So what have we got that we can use as an interim room? It's like a linking room. A mirror room with reflections, bizarre, showing bizarre reflections. I've done mirrors so much. I mean, I can, but an elemental forge. An elemental forge would be fun, but we could use any room under the sun. An elemental. I feel like there's a lot of elemental stuff here. I feel like we're looking at an elemental sort of theme to this. Maybe I've set that up myself up this way, and maybe I've made a mistake by doing that. We could go with crystal chamber, clockwork workshop. I don't know about that one. Hall of mists, fountain of youth, a vault of storms. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like an interim room. A fountain of youth. I almost feel like we could use that there. Let's plant that. I don't think I've used a fountain of youth. Have I used one as a fountain? Oh, I probably have. There's so many of these things. Let's position. Now I did 16, didn't I already? I'm pretty sure I did 16 as a portal chamber. 14 could be this though. 14 could be something like that because that's an interim room, isn't it? 14. So let's plant it into 14. Paste. And I'll just call it fountain, not fountain of youth, but fountain chamber. So let's go here, bold, underline. And then we need a description. This is more of a is in the center of this octagon shaped brick room. We'll make a GM note. Whoops. The water fountain. Whoopsies. The fountain has rejuvenating properties and restores 1 hit point per day. Okay, so we have just given them something. I'll put the center in there. Treasure. Well, let's put here, say, 45 copper coins are at the bottom of the fountain. There we go. Bottom, that's not bottom. Bottom of the fountain. Okay, so bold, underline. No, bold, not bold, underline. That's a note. We probably need to expand at the bottom of the fountain. Okay. Treasure, and we probably need to give them a little bit more information on the slate location. So let's put gold, fish, and copper coins. coins. Scattered. Scattered. Scattered in the scattered. The base. So goldfish swim about. All right, so we've got our description, we've got that, we've got our fountain. Nothing terribly fantastic, like it. Anybody could do this. It's not that hard. We're up to an hour, and how many locations? We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 left to do. So, oh, did I just do one? I think I only did one. So I'm going to do one more, and then we'll come back to chat. Okay, so that's fine. I took a little bit more longer on that one than I probably expected. So we need another location, fill out. We've got some square rooms, so rooms that have probably could be used as functional rooms in some way. So now it's just about deciding what they can be. So 13, 18 and 17 feel like they could be rooms that can have a function of some kind. Areas 3, 5 and 6 probably are more of a military nature. And then we've just got area 2, which is just like an entrance. So there's not much to do with an entrance. It's just a rear entrance, a rear door. So let's write a rear door. Okay. Rear door. And I'll bold underline. This. We need to have I want to do something that's different. What have we not done before? Do I want to make it pink? I don't know about that. It's tempting to make it black again. I still want to make it an iron door. This black iron door is covered in brass cogs. And let's make it a big door, because from the map it almost looks like it covers at least 10 feet, whereas the other doors were a lot smaller. I got hiccups. This 10-foot wide black door is covered in brass cogs. Haven't got anything else, don't have a GM note, don't know what the brass cogs are about, frankly, but maybe we're dealing with a mechanical mechanism. Notes. GM notes, come back to that. Let's go treasure and add that in. Build it out later. And then we've got treasure. I don't know what the treasure would be. It could be as simple as a small clog, like a brass cog. So a small brass cog is laying in front of the door. Have we just created a trap for our players, or is there something else going on here? Don't know. Don't worry about it just yet. We'll come back to that. I think I need a lozenge. So, got rid of the last entrance, which entrances are often boring, but they're still important to at least have something there to distinguish them. We probably do have to have some sort of locking mechanism. I almost feel like a rear door should have a trap. So I'm going to mark down trap, but what sort of trap would that be? Good question. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our, oops, sorry, I've been doing this with the map up. I should have crossed over. So yeah, I'll just show you quickly what I've written. So I did the rear map, the rear door. I've done the, what was it? It wasn't the portal chamber, sky, Colossus. Oh, it's the fountain chamber. So I've written up the fountain chamber here. So we've got the basic structure for that, so you can see that, how that's going to work. Let's go back to chat real quick, and I'll write up another one. How are we doing for time? We're doing all right. Okay, cool. Agile Monk, hello, John. You just checking in? No problems. Okay, so here we go. So now, James, you were saying something about ritual or portal room could be some sort of activation in the process for the PCs to thought. Okay, so that's a complication. That would be a GM note. So John is a patron and a moderator, and thank you for being here, John. I do appreciate it, Agile Monk. So what is it that we can do here that would create a complication in the portal room that we created? Again, people, I build adventures based on feedback in chat. You are welcome to throw some ideas out there. See what sticks to the wall. You never know. Okay, let's go here. Back this way. Let's go back to our portal chamber. We want to have something weird going on, and it needs to be thwarted. So we've set up one sentence that suggests there's multiple portals being opened. In about, okay, so let's set it up for when the characters enter this chamber or open the door to it, they have 10 minutes to figure out how to close the portals, otherwise elemental beings pass through portals. Okay. Is that kind of what you're looking at? When the characters, let's go characters, when the characters enter this chamber or open the door to it, they have 10 minutes to figure out how to close the portals, otherwise elemental beings pass through the portals. So now we have a setup, which means we would need to have a monster. Elementals. What sort of elementals are we talking about? Could be anything, a particular elementals, don't know. You tell me. We have to decide how is it that they close the portals. If there's something they need to do, okay? Answer this question: how to close portals? And that is our question. Part of our GM notes that we'll need. Okay, cool. Got that. Have I got the screen up this time? Yes, you can see what I'm typing. Okay, I want to do a few more things. I feel like 17 and 18, sort of the back end, they are rooms that are sort of feel like they could be set off to the side, can have a purpose. So we can start adding in some things that are more sort of magical. A laboratory wouldn't be a bad one. I don't think I like the idea of using the mirror chamber. The elemental forge is an interesting one. I almost feel like that could be a given, that we could do something like that. I don't want to put the elemental forge close to a laboratory. It feels like that's just asking for a big explosion. But the forge could be away from a lot of other things. We could put the forge in 13, and that would probably work. Let's do that. It's an easy cut and paste. And we go to 13. If I can find 13, there we go. Paste. Whoops. We've added in the 14 now, which was not what we wanted to do. for those of you who are wondering why I have pre-written stuff and then I change things, it's because I just write up stuff fairly randomly. It's like how it's all going to go together. It doesn't really matter. So this is a stone forge. Now I've got it in the wrong place, don't I? Forge is set into the far wall that has let's go with that has a flaming elemental creature trapped in a black cage burning hot coals in the fire. Okay, so we've one sentence tells a lot. I don't know that I want to do any more than that. What else do we need to have here though? GM notes. Don't know. Treasure, things they can find, probably tools. Because it's a forge, so there should probably be tools. We probably should describe a range of blacksmithing tools are hanging from hooks and racks on the walls. Do we need to have anything else other than that? For now, no. We could include billows if we wanted to include billows, but maybe it's not really necessary because we're using an elemental creature to power our forge. So probably don't need to worry about that. Okay, so that done that one. Let's do one more. Let's do 17 or 18. And these are probably, I almost feel like library and alchemist lab are probably higher on my list than anything else. So let's go with the eternal library and go cut, and let's place this one closer to let's closer to the number 19, so it'll be 18. I'll stick it into 18. Come on, paste. Elemental library. How else can we structure it? I don't know. Why is it an elemental library? That's a question. Enormous library with endless rows of floating. Enormous. It's not that enormous. It really isn't. This room is not that enormous. It's really quite small. 1, 2, 3. It's about 25 feet. Isn't it? Or is it 20 feet? 20 feet by 20 feet. So let's change our description a little bit. A 20-foot square. Oops, food. How do I get food? To a 20-foot square library with endless with rows of floating books. Floating books. Rows of floating books that are not stacked in shelves. So they just float there. So you would have to pick them out of the air. Okay, so what else do we do with this? I'm not too sure. GM notes. I'm sure somebody will come up with an idea. Treasure. What treasure would that be? Don't know again. And bold, underline. No, not bold, underline, just bold. And do this. Okay, all right. So we've done that. Let's go and look at another thing we can do. It almost feels that the more I look at how this floating castle or fortress works is it's not going to operate in a normal way. It feels like it's more elemental. It feels like it's more mechanical in nature. So I don't know that we need living quarters. I was tempting to put living quarters in here, but I think that's actually a mistake. I think we're starting to go down a particular track, totally different track. The Alchemist Laboratory, let's put that in as well. And let's just select the other room that we didn't use, which is 17. Paste. So it is starting to feel like this is more an elemental fortress and more mechanical in nature too. So let's go here, bold, underline. A dusty, abandoned laboratory filled with mysterious ingredients and brewing contraptions. That's probably good enough. Treasure, I don't know, what can we find here? Maybe a potion that's been forgotten about. Maybe we put in a GM note. Are we going to use a homunculus? Are we going to use something else? I don't know. But I do feel like we're following a theme at this present time, so that's fine. A dusty, abandoned laboratory full of that's pretty cool. That'll do. And now we're down to the last 3 locations. But before I start working on there, let's go back to chat. Working hard, working hard. Okay. So good to see you, Fred. I've been looking forward to this one. Have you? Awesome. I do these every week. I tell you, people, I really set myself a fast workload for a lot of this stuff. And to be fair, the chances are you could write a lot of this stuff with ChatGPT, I suppose. I find that you wind up rewriting most of it if you're going to use ChatGPT, by the way, people. It just, yeah, even using Dave's mapper, for example, really the room positioning is fine, and the shape of the room, honestly, not hugely important. What could be in there is really, like, it's up to you completely. So I almost find that, you know, every time I do these, I spend so much time rewriting stuff from chat and other stuff. Like, everything maneuvers and molds and changes in nature constantly. So yeah, I hate to say it, you're probably not going to be able to just sit down and use chat GPT to write your adventures and have it work out. There's rather a lot of extra work required. Anyway, let's do some more. Let's include something else. So I got, so I can probably get a couple more locations done, and then we'll start fleshing out, doing adventure hooks and stuff like that. Wow, okay. Let's go here. So now that we've established, I feel like this is more of an elemental location. It almost feels like we don't need to worry about barracks. We don't need to worry about living quarters. We don't need to worry about kitchens, because none of that would make any sense. So now we're dealing with something completely different. We're dealing with what would just make sense for that type of environment. Vault of Storms. I don't really want to have a treasure-filled room, frankly. But the idea of having a room that's just full of storms, that's really weird. Let's get real. That's a very strange idea. And I think we should have that. Vault, Storm Vault. It's almost like this castle or fortress is being used to collect electrical energy or storm energy and stash it. Okay, let's work with that idea for a little bit. And we'll go over here. Paste. Storm Vault. So most of this is completely useless to me in terms of description, but the idea of a storm vault is an interesting idea. This square. Now what can we make it out of? I almost feel like the square. Metal. Square metal room. Is filled with powerful storm clouds, powerful lightning bolts and clouds. Talk about a weird development. Is that enough? I think that probably is. Let's leave that there. GM note, I almost feel like this is a trap. I don't know what sort of trap we're dealing with. Probably an electrical trap, right? Treasure. Okay, so let's just highlight these. 1, 2, bold, bold, and underline. So we can find everything easy when we need it. Okay. Do I need to say anything else? Probably not. Let's move on. Let's do number 6, because most of our locations are done now. Mirror, don't like it. Serpent, the sky serpent tower is tempting. I'm not sure we're going to worry about it though. Crystal chamber. The Hall of Mists. I don't know if it's going to be a Hall of Mists, but the Room of Mists. Why would we have a Room of Mists? A dungeon room with the skeletal remains of a chimera. I suppose we could do that. Is that what we want? I don't think so, actually. I think we ditched that idea. Hall of Mists, Room of Mists, Misty Room, Clockwork Workshop. We could have a workshop with gears and ticking clocks. That sort of falls in line with what we were trying to do before. The crystal chamber for large magical crystals. I don't know. What do people want? We could. This is one of the last locations to sort of fill out, so we kind of have to decide what it is that we want to do with it. So it could be crystals, could be clockwork, could be mist, could be snake themed. I think the clockwork workshop is probably my preference. A combination of mechanical and elemental might be a nice way to go. Oh, what do we got here? I'm just going to hit this button here and hit this button here. Make sure I got it on. I can't. Why can't I click on the button that says like? Thank you, Fred. You continue to be a bastion to the tabletop role-playing game community. Love you, brother. Thank you, Agile Monk. So for those of you who don't know, Agile Monk has a company. Hall of Misguided Youth. Okay, all right. I think I've established. I think you've explained to me what I should do there. Agile Monk has a publishing company. John, feel free to put the link to your publishing company in there. He is working along with other people, but also Wally DM, and yeah, maybe check him out. Maybe you like what they're developing. Anyway, let's go with the workshop. After all of that, let's just do the workshop and cross over workshop, cut, and now what have we got here? We kind of got vibes of. Has it got vibes of the labyrinth, or is it really got? I've just got the labyrinth on my brain. It's probably that. Mechanical workshop with gears and ticking clocks. Well, we had gears on the rear door, so there does seem to feel like there should be. Yeah. Okay. So we haven't done a lot of description about this. a mechanical workshop with gears and ticking mechanisms. Resting on a iron work table. Iron work table. So we do that. What else do we want to say here? I don't know. Not too sure. Let's do that one. Okay. Bold. All right. So I've got one more location I need to do, and then we need to start filling things up since we have established all our locations in almost an hour and a half. Let's start. So we've pieced it all together. We've got our map. We've got some descriptions. They're pretty basic. Let's do here. Guard room. We've got two of them that are pretty much the same. So a rectangular brick room with what? With a weapon rack on the wall and one arrow slit. Arrow slit. I think that's probably good enough. We probably need to include a monster here. Mechanical, elemental in nature. I almost feel like we could fill this thing up with elemental creatures. A combination of elemental and mechanical. I don't know. Bold. Okay, so we bold underline. Bold underline. I'm going to start asking a different question, I think. Treasure. Okay, so we've just got the bones of the adventure now. We don't have all that we require, but we do at least have some information. At least we can describe when they go into a room what is there. Very basics. I guess with descriptions, I often find that probably 2 to 3 sentences is enough, and if you're writing more, it's too much information. Because most of the time I switch off and my players switch off when we have too much information to process. So let's start looking at what's the adventure hook for this place. Like, why would players want to go here? Let's answer that question. Yep. Hello, Derp. How are you? Derp is a patron, and yeah, thanks for showing up. Powered by elemental methods. Now I know that there are a few people who love the idea of methods. Fantasy Companion Workshops. New site is coming, but I would like to work with independent hobbyists to help them get their tabletop role-playing game works published. Thanks, Fred. No problems. Okay. All right. You've got a free community, no ads either, to promote fellow gamers in their products, blogs, and YouTube channels. All right. Okay, powered by methods, elemental methods. So what sort of elemental methods are we talking about? So apparently I can't click the like button, but I can click that other button. Okay. Hey, thank you for the super chat, Agile Monk, the $10 super chat. Hello, Fred Huber. Question. What is the adventure hook for this mechanical work an elemental flying fortress. You're really late, Fred. Not at all. All right, let's start looking at that and work our way through some stuff. Dun dun dun. And back over to here. Okay, I'm not going to worry about wandering monsters because that's not important. Wandering monster, we can do that later. So let's just put here flying fortress. Blah 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 blah. Fill it up with other things. Okay. Drink of water and start building out some stuff. So, just to give you an overview so you understand where we're at with this location, I'm going to sort of go through each location very quickly. Main entrance. 2 sets of double doors. Okay. First outer set, shiny metal, crisscrossed with iron bars. Second set of main doors on the inside, black iron with bands of metal stretching across from left to right, so not crisscrossed. There are arrow slits on either side of the interior gates and hatches above. There's our murder holes, basically. It's hard. They're locked. They're not going to be easy to get through. And they drop rocks. Something is dropped through here. And maybe it's even chunks of metal. Who knows? Rear door is a 10-foot wide black iron door covered in brass cogs. So I've made it mechanical in nature, so it feels like it's kind of like a trap. We might even want to put in here some sort of pit trap, and like an oubliette. 3 guard rooms. We've got 2 of these either side of the main gate or main entrance, and we can probably call this the main gate, main entrance, main gate. Okay, next, number 4 is the sunstone courtyard. So it's basically a courtyard with yellow bricks, sun shining on it. 5 is a storm vault, a metal room filled with powerful lightning bolts and clouds. 6 is a clockwork workshop, mechanical workshop with gears and ticking mechanisms on an iron workbench table. And then 7 is a lightning tower, basically crackling lightning or electricity is sort of being channeled through a large square stone purple block in the center. 8 is an armory, dusty, and it looks like it's got lots of weapons and armor in it. 9 is a statue chamber filled with grey statues of warriors dressed in plate armor and holding weapons. 10 is a great hall, which is mostly empty, but there's a floating statue with a 20-foot high balcony overlooking the room. We haven't really sort of determined what the statue looks like. The vault, the ceiling is vaulted to a height of 40 feet, so it's quite a large chamber. 11 is a magical observatory with a huge triangular room and a large rusty brass telescope. A large tarnished brush. Yeah, okay, in the center, the ceiling shows pinpoints of light. 12 is an aviary, large open area for birds and so forth. 13 is the elemental forge, which is basically powered by a flaming elemental creature trapped in a black cage. Then we have 14, which is sort of like a fountain chamber. So this fountain has got rejuvenation properties, but there's goldfish and copper coins in the bottom of it. 15 is a colossus room where we have a very large metal figure standing there. I'm suggesting maybe an iron golem, but it could be anything under the sun. We've made the ceiling 60 feet. 13 is a portal chamber where there is many portals, mystical swirling things, and somehow they have to close those portals, otherwise elementals are going to come through. What sort of elementals? Do you tell me? The alchemist lab is 17. 18 is an eternal library. I don't know if we can... Is it an eternal library? I don't know. 20-foot square room with rows of floating books that are not stacked in shelves. Basically, that's just a float in midair. 19 is a dungeon pit, sort of like a large cage with iron bars secured by padlock. Cages are suspended inside that cage, that large cage, and it's over a deep pit. And of course, falling through that deep pit pretty much just shoots you out the bottom of the flying fortress and probably plummet to the ground and die. 20 is a sky garden, so basically it's an open roof garden filled with strange floating plants and hovering rocks. So we've got quite a lot going on here, okay? There's a heap, and we don't really need any of that other stuff. We just need to build on what we have here and do something else with it and build it out and put some stuff in here. I would suggest monsters. Where do we want our monsters? What sort of monsters, and where do we want to stick them? But adventure hooks, really important. If we can't convince people to go here, it's not going to work, okay? But monsters, adventure hooks. Main features, probably not quite as important, okay, because each location is kind of spelled out anyway. So yes, what have you guys got as ideas? I feel like there are suggestions of all sorts of things. Okay, steam, soot, smoke methods. Okay, steam and smoke methods. We just need to decide where they're going to be. All right, where's the smart place to put them? It's affecting whether it needs the clock reset. Okay, so the fortress is affecting the weather. Okay, as an adventure hook, I can see that. The fortress, a floating fortress is affecting weather, causing natural disasters, causing storms that wipe out settlements, and needs the clock reset. I'm not quite sure what that really means, but we'll figure it out. What else did you have here? Garderobe that empties down to the world below. We've kind of done locations. We're now working on filling in those locations. So I don't know that we need a garderobe as such. Hover over the king's castle just right that the poo drops into the bedchambers balcony. Okay, move it. Okay, move what? What are we talking about? Move it. James, activate a clockwork and the clockwork room path and activates the Colossus Iron, and it fights would disrupt the flight stability. Okay. Its anti-gravity has formed a huge tornado underneath. Okay, alright. So I think I kind of get... I'm just trying to figure out what James is trying to communicate to me. Paste. The flying castle's anti-gravity has formed a huge tornado under it. And needs to, I guess, shut down. I guess that's another way of putting it. What else? Activating a clockwork in the clockwork room, and its path activates the Colossus room, and then it fights and would disrupt these. Okay. Okay, so this is an activation. This is related to Colossus room. The real owner got evicted by the creatures and wants their flying castle back. Ah, okay, yes, I can see that. Flying fortresses tend to be sort of like a storm giant thing too, don't they? Paste. The storm giant. Whoopsies. What have I done? Storm giant. Owner got evicted by the elemental creatures and wants their flying castle back. Yes, absolutely. What else was there? You've given me a way of disrupting it. Okay, all right. Okay, so give me some monsters and NPCs in this place. Need monsters and NPCs for Fortress. And we'll build out something from there. Okay, I'm not too sure what to do with this. I'm going to take this as a note so I can come back to it, because right now I'm not too sure how to deal with that. This happens to me sometimes. People put in ideas and I'm not too sure what to do with it. Paste. Okay, I made a note, James. Got it there. All right. And back to here. Let's go and wandering monsters. Clockwork golem can be found in any room, making sure that the clockworks work. Yep, I will add that to our list of potential clockworks. Just add that in there and drop that in. Okay. So I got everything from the chat that I needed. NPC stowaway once off. So where is our stowaway going to be? Put our stowaway somewhere. NPC stowaway name. Where are they located in this whole place? Would be good. I like the idea of a stowaway. Absolutely. I'm just curious as to where we're sticking our NPC stowaway, because we don't have anything else other than stowaway. Let's be off. And then James, what do you got here? I'm not sure what to do with my ideas most of the time either. Okay, all right. So let's keep going. Let's see if we can fill in some more stuff. I'm going to take some ideas. I'm going to fill up some things. I feel like this is definitely, it needs to have a master. Like there needs to be something or someone that is controlling all of this. And you know, they can be in a particular location or they might not be, but I feel like there needs to be something like that going on here. How am I doing for time? 16 minutes. Okay, so main gate. Main gate's fine. Trap, some sort of trap here. A pit trap opens below, opens in front of the door if not unlocked. And unlocked, and the victim and okay, a pit trap opens in front of the door if not unlocked, and drops the victim. And transports, how about what's the victim to the dungeon pit cages. Cages. An area. Now the dungeon pit cages are in which area? Dungeon. 19. Area 19. Okay, so we've got that. We need a GM note about how to open this door. The door can only be opened successfully with a knock spell, the correct key, or a lock pick or lock pick tools, which is hard to do. Okay, so we've given them lock spell, magic. Okay, so we need to put a key in here somewhere. The key needs to be somewhere, but of course the key won't be something they can get to because it'll be inside, so they're really going to have a hard time. We've kind of made it hard for them to get in, but even if they fail to get in correctly, the trap will get them in. They'll just be in the cages, which is an interesting problem to get out of. That's fine. So let's go down to monsters and guard room. Not too sure I want to do anything with that right now. We've done a trap, which gets them in. Stone courtyard. We haven't really got a note about what we want to have here, but I almost feel like if we're going to have a method, there needs to be, or an elemental of some kind, needs to be something that's appropriate to light. And what would be a good one? Something. Is there a fire? I don't want to go meth. My efforts. Here we go, methods. So steam, smoke, mud, magma, doesn't really make sense. Dust, steam. Don't know what to do with this. Putting in a trap, I don't know what to do with that either. That was the storm vault. Entering. I'm never going to enter. Entering the room. Okay. Let's go here. Let's go simple. Standing on the floor of this room results in a electrical shock causing 1d. Do we want to make it really, really bad, or we want to make it not so bad? 2d6, I don't know, 2d6. Damage. With nowhere to sort of have a save, yeah, probably. Don't stand on the floor. It's probably a smart thing. So, Storm Vault, probably should avoid that. Clockwork Workshop. What can we include in here as a monster? I almost feel like the Clockwork Workshop sort of suggests that there probably should be an NPC of some kind. So let's go NPC. What sort of NPC? I don't know. Next, Lightning Tower, GM notes. Again, this feels like this is a dangerous location. I don't know what else I want to do with this, though. I don't really want to keep having more lightning things going off. So yeah, I'm not too sure what to do with it yet, so we'll move that on. Treasure, armor, that's fine. The statues, we've kind of got the monster set out. We're just using animated statues. Animated armor would be fine as well. That would probably just serve the same purpose. The Great Hall, we haven't got a lot going on here, but I feel like there should be someone or something in here. Let's just put down monster for now. What would be something that would be in the Great Hall? Magical Observatory. We've got the bird aviary already. Magical Observatory. I feel like there's a thinker going in here, so we're going to make NPC. Might have to make an NPC for this. It might not want to be an NPC. We might go somewhere else. We've got an NPC bird keeper in the aviary. We've got elemental forge. We probably need to have something or someone operating the forge. And what sort of monster would that be? I think it needs to be something that's strong. Yeah, I'm not too sure either. Okay, moving on. So we'll just do this. Bold, bold, bold. I'm just going through and trying to decide where to put monsters, where not to put monsters, if to put an NPC somewhere. And yep. Okay. Avery, got that. That one. The fountain, fountain chamber. Fountain chamber, I don't know if it is necessary to have anything in here that is terribly bad, other than you find a chamber with a fountain in it. Colossus chamber, this has got a giant thing. It's got basically we've got an iron golem in here, but we haven't really sort of talked about how to work that. The portal chamber, I think we can probably include all sorts of elementals. It doesn't need to be really powerful ones too. So let's go here. 4 different elementals. Come through the portals. Presenting fire, air, water and earth. Okay, so let's do that. Next, we've got a lab. Brink and contraptions. This is really, this place is kind of not, it's kind of almost abandoned. So, monsters. Let's just put here 3 dust mephits. Are playing tag. Tag. So laboratory, but will harass intruders. Pretty simple. Dust methods. Okay, next. Dust, steam. We do something else with this. I almost feel like we could deal with something that's light-based. The dungeon pit. We do not want monsters necessarily here, but we want them to be able to get out. And then Sky Garden. Okay, all right. Man, what else have we got here? We've got some more ideas. I've just been working away, trying to throw some stuff in there. The Et and Lear video. Well, thank you. The Et and Lear, by the way, will go up onto Patreon, John. I finished writing the last of the NPC notes last night. I just did not get it up onto Patreon. So that'll go up probably today sometime. I just don't know when I get to it. So Dirt. Stowaway is a druid wandering around, shapeshifting as a cat, sleeps in area 6. Ah, okay. Interesting. I like that idea. Area 6. That's nice. It works quite nicely actually. Now I think about it. 6. Let's go to 6. Where is 6? 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Yes, here we go. NPC. We need an NPC. Paste. A druid. Who has stowed away has been wandering the fortress but currently has shape-shifted into a cat and is sleeping table. Okay, good. Got that. We will still need to have a name. Name, motive, appearance. For this, come back to that. It's a little bit of homework. Okay, nice. What else do we have here in the chat? Busy working on farm and getting back into flying RC models. Yes, no, I know you were mentioning that the other day, Fred. You want a flesh golem. 3 quasits are in the alchemist lab creating chaos. Rambling mixing. Now, quasit. So you want to put, not dust methods, but a quasit in there. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's go here. Drop this down. How am I doing for time? I'm out of time. Apparently. Oh, he wants off. That's his motive, right? I think we've kind of established the laboratory quite nicely, actually. The threshold are playing tag in the laboratory. Let's do the methods doing that. What are the deposits? Paste. Randomly mixing ingredients. 3 disc methods are playing tag in the laboratory and randomly mixing ingredients, but will harass intruders. Okay, so we've got that one down. Cool. And then once off, the stowaway, which is in now the cat. Our clockwork workshop. Here we go. I don't know why he would be, yeah, if he's a druid, he could just transform into a bird. This is not going to make any sense. 2. Okay. That's an odd development, but I've included something there that hopefully will work for later on. Flesh golem. And you want to put that in the lightning room. Ugh, pardon me. There are 2 places that potentially have lightning. There are 2 places that potentially have lightning in them. So we can work with that reasonably easy. Without too much trouble, I would imagine. Yeah, okay. Lower level druids can't take fly. Oh, of course. Right, there we go. It's a low level. Right, they can't fly. That's good to know. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. What in the fortress? To find a way off. Okay, all right. Well, we're out of time. So let's go over to here and I will show you what I have. There are a lot of holes. There's a lot of work left to be done on something like this. But there's 20 locations. 20 locations is a lot to get done in a short space of time. Probably, if I was to go through this, I would go through and I would start with what monsters do I think, or creatures or NPCs, do I want to populate this location? And I will, more than likely, I need to figure out who is the overall boss here? Who is the mastermind behind this? Or has it just been taken over? Is it like the Gremlins, where a whole bunch of Gremlins, well, no, even Gremlins had a leader. So there needs to be something here that has taken over the flying fortress from, let's say, a storm giant, and is using it for their purposes. So we need something that's elemental in nature. Probably, I feel like it's elemental in nature, is using the fortress as a tool. So we've got most of the elements. So I think that then I deal with what needs to have traps or hazards, and then I deal with treasure, and that should mostly get me where I need to be. There might be a few things I need to add along the way. Even that alone, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But 20 locations is hard to get done in a very short space of time. Anyway, there we are. Out of time. Got to go. I've got to go and do other things, and so do you, I'm sure. So, yeah, I will try to work on this probably near the end of the week because I want to finish off last week's one. So yeah, cool, awesome. Let's finish up this poll here. End it. 12 votes. Maybe this was not the kind of adventure people were hoping to see developed, but that was a suggestion. I thought it was a good idea, and give it a go. We haven't really done it before. Have you made? Oh God, I was probably a bit too busy not paying attention. Have you made a Flying Fortress adventure for a tabletop role-playing game? No, 60%. Is this my first one? No, it's not. This will be my second one. Yes, 25%. Interesting. Just watching, 8%. Incomplete. Nobody's got an incomplete. So 12 votes. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. I am going to get out of here because, like I said, out of time. Got to do other things. So huge thank you to everybody in the chat who's been watching and listening. Really big thank you to all of my patrons who support me on Patreon. I really do appreciate it. It's thank you, Fritz. I really do appreciate it. I will try to put one adventure, since we make about 4 or 5 of these things a month, I'll try to put one on my Patreon for free. The other ones will be for patrons, and you can pay whatever you like. It doesn't really matter. I don't really have tiers. I don't really bother with that. So yeah, so thank you everybody who has been watching, taking part in the poll. Really appreciate you taking part in the poll. Can't thank my patrons enough. I want to thank those people, particularly in chat, who were sharing their ideas and putting their ideas forward. James, thank you. Fred Huber, Derp, Agile Monk, thanks for having a chat with us. And was there anybody else? I think most of it today was actually James. James was doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of suggesting some ideas. But please don't feel self-conscious about sharing some of your ideas, because you never know what will stick. It might get modified, but you never know about these sort of things until you try. Just give it a go and find out. Okay, part of the process of writing and creating your own stuff. Anyway, yeah. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, or the night, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And I'll be back next week, same time, same bat channel, to do the same sort of thing. But tomorrow we're dealing with world building. We'll see how that goes. I know a few people really enjoy that sort of thing. I'm not too sure how it's going to go. We'll see. But I'm all prepared to do world building tomorrow. Anyway, we'll be back next week, do another adventure. What will that be? I don't know yet. So, yeah, thank you. And, yeah, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.